Happy birthday to the Bill. Happy birthday to the Cosby. Happy birthday, Dr. Bill Cosby. Happy birthday to you. Well, hello there. Happy birthday to the one and only Dr. Bill Cosby. Dr. Cosby, Black America owes you apology. You were right. They're not like us. They're not like us. They're not like us. You know, you apology, Dr. Cosby. You try to help black folk, and we kind of turn our back on you. But God has the final say. But you have many, many more days of celebrating your life anniversary. Because, like you told me, when my great uncle passed, if we don't tell their stories, the ancestors get no glory. Love you, man, baby.
Guess who's back? Back again. Brother Run. Tell a friend. Guess who's back and still black? It's me. Welcome. We all be in it to win it, family. This is your guy, Brother Ron, because knowledge is the currency of the universe as well as the university. See how it works somewhere. It is so much to talk about. It's so good to be back on the air. Thank you, Universal God, for blessing Brother Ron with the opportunity to spread that love with the people, man. Now, I am simulcasting from different locations. Some of y'all I see me on We All BTV, the original We All BTV. Some of y'all watching on We All BTV too. Also, YT. I don't call it YouTube. I call it YT. They're acting very mighty whitey these days as it relates to Brother Ron. But can't stop the messenger from delivering the message. I'm the mailman. I rain, sleet, snow, or demonetization, Brother Ron shall deliver. So also rumble.com/we all BTV. Your best bet is because I'm a privatize or make it private on We All BTV because I want to push the traffic to the other options of rumble.com/we all BTV. And also the second, which would be the official We All Be YT channel coming up soon, because that censorship is running really heavy these days. And I don't know what it is. They afraid a little run. I'm not, Candace Owens or no Joe Rogan or none of those guys. But I guess, give me an audience that they got and see what happens. And that's maybe why they don't want it to happen. But when man says no, God says yes. And this is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. So we're going to be talking about Dr. Bill Cosby today, Black America, or rather tonight. We owes Bill Cosby an apology, man. We owe that man an apology. And I'm going to refresh your memory, your membrane, to understand why that is truly the case. But before we get on the case, I want to do a We All Be throwback. I'm going to shout out my sister, Kara Dangerous, because she's living la vida loca. We did a show with Bill Cosby's publishers, PR guy, Andrew White, about maybe about a couple years back. And I want to jumpstart this show with playing that clip. Bear with me. A little bit over 10 minutes, like around 14 minutes, but it's worth watching and listening to, because this is the case I'm going to make tonight, why we should apologize to Dr. Bill Cosby. Dr. Bill, we owe you an apology. So we're going to get to it. So we all be in it. Remember, this is We All Be the No Group Think Zone. Think for yourself. One love, baby. So we're going to play that clip right away. And we'll get back into the show. I want to make sure I started the show on time. Because I know people have been waiting. So anxious. Okay, here we go. So what's the scenario? All right. One love, baby. It's popping.
this is Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
But my thing is this, though. Here's my thing, bro. I don't know, bro, Andrew, when you got on to Bill Cosby be his publicist, but I know as early as 2014, I was advocating for Dr. Bill Cosby's innocent, along with Baba Dick Gregory. He'll come on my show and talk about what was going on with his dear friend, featuring stories. But also, you had new black media people like Nicole's View and Drew Story. They went to the trial on their own dime, as well as you got brother Gavin Richard, the attorney from New Orleans.
Gavin Richards. I want to do this.
Yeah, Gavin Richard.
Look,
right. But here's what I want to
do this show tomorrow. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to finish this point. The problem that Malcolm said he had with the black press is the fact that we was always reacting to what the white media put out. We had a chance to get in front of this story about Dr. Bill Cosby. I believe the tide is turning right now with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard defamation case in Virginia. But we had a chance to protect him at the beginning, to get in front of this and control the narrative. And we missed that chance because I know I've been doing work, putting out Dr. Cosby, talking to people like Judge Joe Brown before anybody else to put that message about Dr. Cosby, how he felt about the case. And you had a lot of supporters in the grassroots, not in the so-called old traditional media, but in the grassroots like Kara Dangerous and I, who would have been more than willing to put it all on the line for Dr. Cosby. We didn't gain anything out of this. We lost friends and family on social media, got disinvited from cookouts, standing for Dr. Cosby. Yeah, we were on the right side of history, though. But I don't know when you got on board, but I wish, because you talk about how you don't have a social media presence, and I think that's not the right way to think as a publicist. With all due respect to you, and you're a good brother, but I'm saying as a publicist, you should have a social media presence. Because Goya already, as spiteful as she is very media savvy. She's very
well. Look, I would explain to you this way. I started representing Mr. Cosby and working with him in 2000, and that was in 11. I started working with Dick Gregory. Matter of fact, I have in my house Dick Gregory's Lifetime Achievement Award. He told me to hold for him that I got for him while representing the SCLC for 10 years.
That's right.
And so
shut up, huh?
I have his Lifetime Achievement Award in my house.
No, that's how he would talk to folks. Huh?
He used to curse me out, but that's
yeah. He would call me. He would call me every morning and cuss me out for no reason.
That's right.
And he got on the phone with Mr. Cosby, and I have a picture. But he got on the phone with Mr. Cosby, and he said, Bill, this is the baddest nigga on the planet. You better keep him around. And he said, how old were you, Andrew, when you started with Cosby? I said, 37. He said, how old was Cosby? I said, 73. He said, look, what year you was born? I said, 73. He said, look, nigga, the numbers don't lie. And
dang, so hard.
That's worse than Kevin Samuels,
yeah, worse than Kevin Samuels. And Dick Gregory, man, the day he passed away, John Bellamy and his son Christian Gregory called me. Because, he gave Bill Cosby his start at the Hungry Eye in San Francisco. He gave Bill Cosby and Barbara Streisand his start because he joined the Civil Rights Movement.
Right.
And so Mr. Gregory called, and we got him on, and Mr. Cosby said, Dick, get out that bed, man. Okay, you got our attention. All right, man, now we want to laugh. Get out the bed, man. He said, Bill, I love you, man. I love you, Andrew. So I love y'all. And then he said, I'm going to go get me some sun, man. I'm going to get out this bed. He got out the bed. I got the picture they sent me of him when he went in. They put him in a wheelchair. He went out the sun. And, man, he crashed an hour after we talked to him. And Mr. and Mrs. Cosby came to his funeral.
Yep.
And it was amazing, man. Dick Gregory was an amazing guy. But when you talk about social media presence, let me tell you my purpose behind that. I worked in the news business for 12 years. I worked for ABC and Fox. Fox was my last station. Started my firm in 2007. The reason why I started my firm is because, you know, the news business taught me how to set people up like my own people. They taught me their game. You know, I was sitting in the control room when the producer and sitting next to the director and the technical director of the TV, they would go and see a shooting into a black community, and they were like, go get the worst looking person. Shooting in the white community, they were like, no, don't go talk to nobody because my family live in that community. Or a school shooting, my kid go to that school. So I started seeing the effects of social media taking black people away from current events of the day. And I felt that I could be more valuable to the clients I represent and the people and the work that I'm doing right now without being sidetracked on trying to keep up with my own posts and trying to be engaging, because I need to be focused and primarily focused on being engaged and just fighting this good fight. I went to a school, Miles College. It was a school where King used to have his meetings at the bottom of the LRC. It's a school where the Select and Bind campaign was started by Judge U.W. Clemens, who became a federal judge and appointed by Jimmy Carter. He was the SGA president, Miles. And Donald and Frank, a guy by the name of Frank Dukes, who's still a CME pastor today. Miles is a CME school. And most of my professors were civil rights leaders. Fred Shuttlesworth, who the Birmingham airport is named after, Reverend Shuttlesworth, who was an outlaw in the civil rights movement. I got to shake his hand, man, and touch his head and feel the lumps inside on his head when he was beat, you know. And one thing that these guys, man, always taught me, they was like, look, I need you to stay steady on the case. And sometimes you can't stay steady on the case when you're sidetracked by a website and trying to be popular yourself, because it's never about me. The moment I make it about me, I don't want to do it no more. I don't want it about me. I understand when people say, well, you don't have a presence and you don't have this. Look, you could Google me. I'm out here every day. I helped the R. Kelly team from behind the scenes for 5 years. That's how Jennifer Bungie, our attorney on this civil matter, that's how she got the case. And I was helping them from behind the story, behind just because I've always been a behind the scenes guy.
So are you trying to say that you don't necessarily need to be out there on social media because you're handling business behind the scenes? I think Ron's concern was that maybe that could have been a wider scope of.
I mean, you're a publicist. I understand what you're saying, but you're in the media business. You're supposed to be able to get in front of the story.
Yeah, I hear
where they're going with the story.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but I hear what you say. Well, I'm publicist, crisis manager. I do it all. But I hear what you're saying. But it's the way Kara found me, you know, and I'm responsive to everybody. At that time, when that happened, I was in DC with Mr. Cosby. We had put the art collection on loan, and Mr. Cosby's publicist, who was with him, David Brokaw, who had been with him for 40 years. David's father, Norman Brokaw, was the chairman and founder of William Morris. He's the one that got Cosby, the Cosby Show. He was Cosby's agent. Well, Norman gets sick. Nobody would have touched Cosby if Norman hadn't got sick. And let me go backwards. Let me go backwards and tell you why we know and this is happening to Bill Cosby. So in 2005, Bill Cosby, he settles out with Andrea Constand. Michelle Obama and Barack Obama will call him every day and ask for him to publicly endorse him. Mr. Cosby told Barack, I can't do it. I can't do it because I just settled with this woman. I don't want to bring any heat to you.
Right.
Barack said, look, we got a machine. You'll be okay. Cosby said, look, I want to protect you. I know what you're saying. I just think that they're gonna bring out how I settled with this white woman, and they're gonna hurt your efforts. So Michelle Obama used to call the house. people like Oprah had stayed at that Massachusetts house. Oprah and Stedman stayed there. Johnny Cochran forgot who he was in their gazebo at that Massachusetts house. Cicely Tyson and Miles Davis got married at that Massachusetts property. And so Cosby was giving him a lot of wisdom. Well, then fast forward, Cosby decides, because Norman gets sick, they knew he didn't have the protection because Norman Brokaw is the icon, controls everything, you know, and they knew Cosby didn't have the protection. Norman gets sick. Then it's 2014, summer 2014. Mr. Cosby calls me up. He said, look, man, I can't get in touch with David. David ain't taking my calls. And he said, I said, what do you mean? He's in Maine touring. He's about to do a comedy show. He said, can you look online and see, is anybody trying to talk about me and women? I looked and it was this Newsweek article done by this Gawker trying to bring up Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Roman Polanski, and Woody Allen. I said, man, he said, okay, tell me honestly, Andrew, do you think it's going to stick? I said, nah, nobody's going to buy into it. No one's going to buy into it. So we fast forward to they're going to, the only way you got to see this African-American art collection, you had to be invited to the houses. That's the only way. So they decided to give the Smithsonian millions of dollars and put the collection on loan for 2 years. So I had Cosby, my interviews I set up for Cosby that day was Roland Martin and Gwen Ifill. 2 interviews I set up. After I finished, I go back to the hotel. Cosby, he said, look, there was 2 books on education that he signed, one to Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. He said, I need you to call the White House and get them these books. I said, okay, fine. So I called the White House. They accept my call. I'm trying to get them these books. Everybody stood me up. They had me going from this corner, going to this location. For some reason, people were standing me up. I get back to my hotel and I'm standing at the Lowe's in DC downtown. And all of a sudden the allegations hit. All because David purposely, in my mind, left Mr. Cosby unattended. And this AP reporter got to put him on the spot with his wife sitting next to him. He said, hey, if you have any integrity, I would appreciate if you destroy this tape.
I remember that like yesterday.
Okay, so by that time, this is a planned effort. I'm just painting the picture for you. It's a planned effort. By that time, I'm going to connect the dots. Remember 2005, the Obamas, whole deal. So by that time, before all of that happened, Mr. Cosby was touring like crazy. In a different, he was doing almost at least 8 cities a week at his age, 8 to 10 cities, sell out shows. William Morris tells him, you're too old now for us to shop a show. We had a new TV show coming out February 2015. Diane Carroll was going to play his wife. He was going to have 1 kid left in the house. Well, Cosby gets upset with William Morris, had been with them for almost 50 plus years. He leaves and goes to CAA. Guess who purchases William Morris? Ari Emanuel, whose brother is Rahm Emanuel, the chief of staff to Obama, and Dr. Emanuel, who creates Obamacare. They're pissed with Cosby because he got a new TV show coming out. He saved William Morris from bankruptcy for 7 years, almost 7 years, as well as NBC a number of times.
And welcome back in black. It's Brother Ron, and this is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. Let me pause for the calls. I'll be right back and back. I'm back. Okay, that was brother Andrew Wyatt as Cosby's official publicist, and we did that conversation a couple years back. Shout out to Sistar, Kara Dangerous, and it was about 3 years ago this summer, like I want to say August the 1st, 2021, when Andrew Wyatt connected us with the one and only Dr. Bill Cosby. Oh, you know, Bill Cosby called us up after we did a show with him with Andrew Wyatt, his rep, and we spoke, or rather, I listened for most of the 30 minutes we were on the phone. Me and Kara was, kicking it with the calls, Bill Cosby, and I wasn't even expecting that, because what was interesting is that he called me right after my uncle passed the day before, July 31st. My uncle Frenchie, Uncle James French Sr., who is a South Carolina legend. He really was like, that. You remember no beer commercials? The most interesting man in the world. That was my Uncle Frenchie. He was a living legend. He was well respected in Charleston. He was the founder, the owner, and the director of the Charleston Chronicle, which was at one point the oldest Black-owned newspaper in the state of South Carolina. Unfortunately, his newspaper died with him that summer of 2021. And I went to his funeral or homegoing to pay my respects. But, Bill Cosby, I told him about my uncle passing the day before. He offered his condolences in the way he can, and also he offered some advice. You feel, man, well, before you sell the house and the paper, make sure you save the stories, the archives, the stories, because once Hollywood get a hold of your story, it's no longer your story. Like basically, if you don't tell their stories, the ancestors, neither you get no glory. So, like, yeah, he was talking about you got to save them stories. They become viable resources for storytelling. That could be a hit movie in those newspaper archives. Now, I talked to my cousin Simona recently, and they sold the building that he owned downtown Charleston or nearby, very valuable real estate. But I'm not sure if they saved the archives. I even brought that message that Dr. Cosby gave me to his homegoing when I did my speech and did my thing at the homegoing. I mentioned that Dr. Cosby said we need to save those archives. They're very valuable resources for the narrative of our people. And Dr. Cosby basically was trying to do that. He knew the importance and the value of Black folks controlling their image, of reclaiming their narrative and things of that nature. And he paid a price for it. And a lot of us still don't understand the real price and sacrifice that was made when they went after Dr. Bill Cosby in the way they did. And I just want to remind people the real reason why they did that, is not what we think it is. Like the official story is normally the official lie agreed upon by the powers that think they be. So hope y'all can hear me out there. I think y'all can hear me. I don't think I'm that far away. I'm getting all carried away. But I just want to do the show. And thank y'all for coming in. And yeah, we're gonna talk about it, because I remember like when I talked to Bill Cosby, I think this is very important. When I talked to Dr. Bill Cosby, I was listening to him, and it was a surreal thing. And somehow he brought up the Poundcake speech. Like he himself brought that up, the Poundcake speech. He brought it up. And like I told him, I said, look, Dr. Cosby, I remember when I was an undergrad college student at Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri. Remember reading the St. Louis American, the local Black newspaper there. And it talked about all the police brutality cases piling up in Cincinnati, Ohio. Cincinnati, with Queen City, right? Beautiful city, architecture, rolling hills, amazing history, whatever. But it talked about how many Black people were being unalive and brutalized by the police department there. And it was a very serious situation, because y'all talking about Project 2025. This happened almost 25 years ago. put it in perspective. So y'all afraid of stuff that we already going through and been going through. So I don't know what the big deal is. I'm being honest with you. And I'm gonna do a Project 2025 show, but y'all gotta support this platform. Cause I said they doing all the stops to try to stop me from getting my message out. And people say, you've been on a hiatus. No, I ain't been on a hiatus like that. I've been trying to build up other platforms to get this message out while we still can. Because Bobby Dick Gregory was a prophet. Y'all said, hey, you said it was going to be no election. Well, considering what happened today, it may not be one. Dick was just 8 years too early. So I'm going to just leave it on that. We'll talk about the Bobby Dick Gregory legacy as it relates to our 2024 world as well. But getting back to the fact that Black people being killed and brutalized by the Cincinnati police at a horrific rate. And y'all talk about George Floyd, y'all talk about Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown, but this is like years before. And Bill Cosby was the first A-list celebrity to actually boycott Cincinnati due to the mistreatment of Black people by law enforcement. He actually boycotted Cincinnati. He lost money. They lost money, but he did it for the right reasons. This is more than just taking a kneel during a football game. This is about, he put his money where his mouth is. He said, look, I got, I'm an A-list celebrity. I got resources. I'm well respected, but I want to use my spotlight, my celebrity, to shed the light on what the hell my people are catching, the type of hell my people are catching in a place like Cincinnati. Cincinnati is an interesting place because people always talking about the Deep South. That's Ohio, probably like the free land, freedom land, whatever. And Cincinnati, I remember as a kid, the Cincinnati Reds baseball team. They was owned by this elderly white woman named Marge Schott. And I remember, some of my favorite players like Barry Larkin and Eric Davis played for the Cincinnati Reds, who won a World Series right after they got rid of Pete Rose. After they kicked Pete Rose out of baseball for allegedly gambling situation, the Reds won the World Series with Lou Piniella as the manager. But Marge Schott, she old school white lady, daughter of America. She basically, said that like people like Eric Davis, I think Barry Larkin was her $1 million niggas. Like I say niggas like Negus, like Ethiopian king, because I think that's very interesting that they call us nigga, but we're really royalty. They saying, what's up, king? What's up, queen? I look at it now. I'm on a Kendrick Lamar state of mind when it comes to that word, but it's Negus, but she used the old school Dixieland version. Her $1 million, Negroes. So she got in trouble for that. This is years before Donald Sterling. But I just want y'all to get an understanding about the mentality of a place like Cincinnati. And like Malcolm X said years ago, any place south or anywhere south of Canada is Mississippi, America. But Bill Cosby boycotted Cincinnati until law enforcement started treating Black folks better in Cincinnati. So I told him I remember that, and he was like, "You remember that? You remember?" Because he brought the pound. He said, "This is 3 years before the Poundcake speech," and like I told him, if they're gonna talk about the bad, about who you are and what you've done and your legacy, they got to also balance it out with the good. It's only fair to point out your highlights if they're going to point out the low moments, the peaks, the valleys, the highs and lows. It need to be a well-balanced assessment of his legacy. And thinking about that, he was shocked that I knew about that because we live in such a microwave-like society, TikTok brain, it's hard to read. I used to be able to read 300-page books growing up with no problem. Maybe take me like a day or two to read a 300-page book. Now I struggle to read 13 pages because the way everything's set up is to distract and deflect and to make you focus your energy on BS, to keep you trapped in the social media experiment, So we got to get back to doing our research and reclaiming our stories like he told me. We got to save our stories and tell our stories from our perspective. And Dr. Cosby deserved to get his story told from his perspective, all the things he had done for people, like creating the Black Stuntman Association, helping a lot of people, like gave the money to Melvin Van Peebles to do Sweetback Badass Song. He actually put the investment money behind Sweetback Badass Song. That's a great blaxploitation movie. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Maurice White, Tennessee, Memphis, Maine, Booker T. Washington High School, South Memphis, Maine. He did the soundtrack with Earth, Wind, and Fire. They did the soundtrack for Sweetback Badass Song. But Bill Cosby put the money behind that. When Spike Lee could not get the money to complete Malcolm X, he had to depend on people like Dr. Bill Cosby, Michael Jordan, Magic, Oprah, Janet Jackson. But Bill Cosby has always been on the front lines when it came to telling our stories, whether it be in a comedic form as a stand-up, sitcoms, documentaries, and whatnot. And I want to say that I think he wasn't involved in this documentary about Black Wall Street that came out a while back. This is before all y'all really got hip to what Black Wall Street was. I believe I want to say it was back in the 2000s. Maybe it was an HBO production in connection with Dr. Bill Cosby, because this is around the time that Johnny Cochran was really pushing for restitution and reparations for the survivors and the descendants of the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921. And we just had that unfortunate thing right before Juneteenth, the Oklahoma courts denying the last living survivors their right to reparations. And I got to help y'all to understand the Tulsa Race Massacre situation, because we don't really understand it at all, because Black folks bounced back and came back bigger, blacker, and stronger after the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921. That thing was only a one-day affair. And what y'all got to understand is that Black men did fight back. You had World War I veterans sniping white folks in Greenwood, in Black Wall Street land. And the only reason they lost, because they said so many white people were killed that they had to dump their body. I believe that's the Arkansas River near Tulsa, to cover up the body count, because the Arkansas River had quicksand, or has quicksand. And so they cover up the body count of how many white folks were killed by Black men who just came back from World War I. They said, we ain't taking this no more. We made the world safe for democracy. It's time to make the world, or our community, safe for democracy for us. And so when the National Guard them came in, the black men who had more respect for the law than the white savages and lynch mob, they turned themselves in along with their weapons. They left the women and children unprotected, because they put them in concentration camps, these men. So the white men were able to do what they did, and I talk about the most prominent victim of the race massacre was Dr. A.C. Jackson. He was a top colored, they call him colored Negro surgeon back in the day. He invented tools in surgery that is still used to this day. And that's how brilliant he was. He was born in Memphis back in February of 1879. His father was U.S. colored troops, Civil War. And he got his training in Memphis in the state of Tennessee. But the Mayo brothers, who founded the Mayo Clinic, said he was the greatest colored or Negro surgeon in the country. So the Tulsa Race Massacre, he was outside his home. A white mob was approaching him. One of his neighbors was a white man named John Oliphant. I believe that was his name. Former police chief, judge, stuff like that. He was begging the white folks, do not do any harm to Dr. Jackson. This is man that's not only a credit to his race, but also he's a credit to humanity. He saved both white and Black folks' lives. And somebody in the crowd, some sources say a 14-year-old white kid shot him dead in the streets. Just left his body out there. This renowned surgeon, this humanitarian, like a dog, like a stray dog, getting ran down or whatever. And just look up Dr. A.C. Jackson. Yeah, so this is the thing. Y'all talk about Black respectability politics. He still lost his life. Even if you look at the Lane Race Massacre of 1919, go back to look at the Lane Race Massacre that happened right across the way. I'm right across the river from Arkansas, the natural state. You had estimates say 1,000 Black people were killed, buried in mass graves and thrown in the Mississippi River. But it was a prominent Black family that suffered a huge casualty during the Lane Race Massacre. And this basically started because black sharecroppers were tired of being cheated by the white businessmen. So they wanted to form a union to protect the black sharecroppers in the Arkansas Delta. And then the white folks got a hold to the fact that they were having a meeting at a black church. You know, white folks always attacking black churches and places of worship. You think about Dylan Roof and Charleston, the mother Emmanuel. Think about the four little girls at 16th Street Baptist Church, Birmingham. And this happened back in 1919 at the black church in near Atlanta, Arkansas. So they had a union meeting, and white folks came and started shooting at the church, at the property, and black folks shot back. And so I don't know if somebody got killed, a white man got killed or whatever, but word spread that it was a Negro insurrection. So everybody started killing everything black in sight. You got pictures of the governor of Arkansas at the time, who was a Mississippi native, going coon hunting. You know, you found this in the Arkansas Historical Archives. Picture of the governor with these soldiers with guns, like they hunting for Negroes, right? And we don't talk about that. See, we got to talk about that. That's a little bit over 100 years ago. It's not that long ago. My father's mother, her father, my great-grandfather, was born into slavery back in 1862, and he has not been dead for 100 years. So don't tell me that slavery was a long time ago. Especially, we still got forms of slavery to this day. So, you know, you think about it, today is the birthday. This is July 13th. This is the birthday of General Nathan Bedford Forrest, who was the Wizard of the Saddle and the orchestrator behind the Fort Pillow Massacre that happened during the Civil War, April 12, 1864. Killed a whole bunch of black people, U.S. colored troops, women, and children. This is not speculation. This is well documented by primary sources on both sides, that women and children were killed by the Confederates, and that the U.S. colored troops were not allowed to surrender. This is like a year after the Emancipation Proclamation, right? Which did not free slaves. Y'all gotta stop it. But Lincoln did. The Civil War was about slavery. Y'all gotta, people gotta stop saying it wasn't about slavery. Slavery was the economic power behind America's growth. So you can't be about the civil. You can't have the American Civil War about the issue of slavery. You call it states' rights, the right for states to own slaves, right? Still slavery. But first Grand Wizard of the Klan, Nathan Bedford Forrest, right? All that stuff. And he was the father of private prisons. I'm gonna tell you why. After the Civil War, even though he couldn't keep and trade slaves, he got black convicts to work the land known as President's Island. That's a island between Memphis and Arkansas on the Mississippi River. He got convict labor to work the land, to farm the land for him. Think about Angola State Prison down in Louisiana. They got, the prisoners growing crops and the cattle and all that stuff. And that's in America. America got, they said, like a quarter of the world's prison population. And yet we're just 5% of the world's population. So we drugged out and locked up and out of our minds. So, 2024 is the year of the crash out, right? So nothing is never past. The past is never past. Because even though they took down the statue in Memphis of Nathan Bedford Forrest, where his remains were buried with his wife since 1904, because the original was buried in Elmwood Cemetery, our oldest city cemetery. But across the river, there's a city that he founded himself called Forest City, Arkansas, that has a federal penitentiary there, that where rapper T.I. did his time for them gun charges. He was sent to Arkansas, to Forest City, a city founded by the first Grand Wizard of the Klan, war criminal, a savage, slave trader on the level of Michael Jordan, LeBron James. That's how great he was at slavery or slave trading. Self-made millionaire off the sweat and blood of black folk. Nathan Bedford Forrest still got a city that he founded, still standing with a majority population, from what I read not too long ago, is black. And this is the hometown of Al Green. Hey, love and happiness. Al Green was born, but that's not reparations for black folks. They're because Forest City is the birthplace of Al Green. But also Nathan Bedford Forrest, he liked to dip his pretzel into chocolate. He liked chocolate. Matter of fact, he got one of his slaves pregnant, and she ran away to Louisiana to help his daughter. and his one of his grandsons, I think great grandson, something like that, is Douglas Turner Ward, who is the founder of the Negro Ensemble Company. This is a black acting company that trains some of the greatest black actors the last 50, 60 years. Any black actor, Morgan Freeman, Denzel, Felicia Rashad, Samuel Jackson, any black actor or actress you could think of prominent, Mae Cicely Tyson, they came through the Negro Ensemble Company. So the founder of that, his great grandfather, whatever, 3 greats, 2 great, was the first Grand Wizard of the Klan. So that's poetic justice to me. I remember a friend of mine, Elaine Turner. She runs the Slave Haven and WC Handy House in Memphis. She also do Black History tours. She said she actually had Douglas Turner Ward on one of the Black History tours, and he confided in her that Nathan Bedford Forrest was his kinfolk, and he felt embarrassed by it. It's kind of like if you was a Jewish person and telling people, "Oh yeah, my great grandfather was Adolf Hitler," that type of stuff, right? But it is what it is. And he does look like his grandfather, his great whatever grandfather. He got a resemblance to him, which is interesting. But anyway, getting back to the lesson at hand, what was the real reason why Dr. Cosby was convicted and sent to prison? First of all, he should have never went to prison because the DA basically told him that they did an investigation. A police investigated the lady's claim or whatever it is. It's claim that Cosby did something to her. They investigated, couldn't find nothing. But the DA at the time recommended, from my understanding, that she file a civil suit against Bill Cosby. One way or the other, he will be punished because this is white supremacy, right? White inferiority, I call it. But so she filed the civil suit. And Bill Cosby, I remember reading this years ago, that he was told in the email that no criminal charges will be brought against him, that the office of the DA, whatever, sent him an email, or they had an email correspondence saying that he's not in trouble, but we do want to get his deposition, whatever, get his affidavit, whatever you call it, like where he talk about, what they want to know, where they question him and, he takes an oath, whatever, So Bill Cosby, the only thing he was really guilty of was being too honest, being too truthful. He it's kind of like those black men in Black Wall Street, Tulsa, back in 1921. They were too trusting of the law. But laws are made and enforced or not enforced by men. And men are very flawed. When I say men, I mean humanity, okay? Y'all want you feminists all twisted up with that. But anyway, so he talked about, disco biscuits and all that stuff, the Quaaludes and stuff. He got a doctor prescription. And if you look at that, a mockumentary that won all those awards a couple years back, the women, he took advantage of me. But then they always say, well, no, we was into party drugs. Like he offered us Quaaludes. He didn't hide the Quaaludes in a drink. You can't hide a Quaalude like that. It was a party drug. Like he offered them Quaaludes. They was on the party scene, whether it be Hugh Hefner's or any club, whatever. These people was wilding out. This is free love. This is like, sexual revolution time. So you can't look at that time through Me Too eyes, because everybody was get on, get off. Everybody was doing their thing, and Cosby had the disco biscuits. You want some disco biscuits with pudding? He had and he didn't lie about it. He said it was doctor prescription. And the women in the mockumentary said, yeah, because I think it's weird. How's he violating you and you keep on coming back? He promised me a music career. He promised me an acting career. Oh, he hurt me and I keep on. I'm not making light of the situation, but people, stop demonizing people. Women are attracted to powerful men. Like Henry Kissinger, Dr. Henry Kissinger, Dr. Frankenstein, whatever you want to call him. He said that power is an aphrodisiac. Power is an aphrodisiac. It's the best cologne going, power, the smell of power. So women are attracted to that, men are attracted to that, and Bill Cosby took advantage of it like any man would in that position, which is unfortunate, because, people had their, stars hitched to his star, or they were trying to ride his star to their success. But, it didn't work out that way. But the women in the mockumentary, some of them said, yeah, I used to do the party drugs and all that. I was wilding out. And some of them had relationships with Bill Cosby for an extended period of time, for even years. So how was this man abusing you? You could always leave. Even with the Diddy thing, I ain't gonna get into all that. with the Diddy thing. But why is he a monster when people allowed it to happen for years and years and years? It's like, how do you believe Michael Jackson touched them kids if you got organizations like Make-A-Wish Foundation and other organizations keep on sending him kids and family to Neverland Ranch? Like the FBI, they tore up Neverland Ranch looking for evidence of Mike Jackson's, doing harm to children, and they couldn't find it. I think the DA down there was Tom Sneddon. I think that's his name. He passed on, but he was like obsessed with Michael Jackson, like Captain Ahab was obsessed by Moby Dick, And to me, for the FBI to say they didn't find anything, I don't know how to feel about that, because I know the history of the FBI. Like, y'all talk about Project 2025, it's going to destroy the Department of Education, being the Department of Miseducation or Misdirection. Because how can you justify the existence of the Department of Education when you got children graduating from high school that can't read or write, functional illiterates? You got kids with high school diplomas got to take remedial English and math. So we've been failing the kids. So maybe it's best to get rid of it and start over. We don't want to start over on anything. Our fear is we got to do things from the ground up. We don't want to do that. But yet you're never going to get better unless we deconstruct some of this stuff and resurrect or whatever. A timeout for the same old. You know what I'm saying? So Project 2025, from my understanding, talks about getting rid of the FBI, Homeland Security. I don't see the problem. The FBI is a problem. The FBI, the gun that killed Dr. King, can be traced back to the FBI. This is not no conspiracy. The conspiracy is the reality that many of y'all refuse to accept. So the gun can be traced back to the FBI, the gun that killed Dr. King, the actual gun, not the one that got on display at the National Civil Rights Museum. I don't think this one. Also, I just came back from Chicago. I went to Maywood to visit the childhood home of Chairman Fred Hampton Sr., who is the head of the Black Panther Party of Illinois, one of my heroes. I visited and paid respect to his childhood home. Shout out to Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. I got to come back up there and connect with that brother. But it was proven in their court of law, that the FBI, that the government, police, Chicago Police, State Attorney's Office, Edward Hannaran, whatever how you say his name, they were involved in assassinating a Black man while he was sleeping next to his pregnant fiance. Just at the age of 21, they assassinated Fred Hampton. FBI was involved. His chief bodyguard, William O'Neill, was an FBI informant and agent provocateur. Now, I make a difference between, I feel like there's a difference between being an informant versus being a provocateur. Informant gathers, collects information, and then give it to their handlers, right? Provocateurs create situations that can cause for interesting conclusions. They're, playing around because, like, William O'Neill gave the floor plans to Fred Hampton's West Side Chicago apartment to his handler. I think his name was Roy Mitchell at the FBI, and they passed it along. State Attorney Office passed along to the Chicago police people, and they came in at 4:30 in the morning. Who serves a warrant at 4:30 in the morning? It's like, this is before Breonna Taylor and all that stuff. See, y'all think that, Project 2025, they're gonna do this. They've been doing this. They not like us. They not like us. They are not like us. We are we. All right. So stop that, like, that fear mongering and boogeyman talk. I'm trying to tell y'all, we've been catching hell. I don't know what Jim Crow, lynching, redlining, slavery, massacres. Come on now. This is America. America is a big gangster rap album. So the FBI hired the first Black agents to neutralize Marcus Garvey. They framed him, deported him. So yeah, Jack Johnson had his run-ins with them guys, with the feds. I don't see what the big deal is. The FBI has not been a friend. They even helped get some civil rights workers killed back in the day. The FBI had informants and provocateurs within the Klan and other white inferiority organizations. So what I'm saying is, this is a weird time that the only person that's guilty in all the land is Dr. Bill Cosby. And he's guilty because he was honest. He didn't lie under oath on his affidavit, whatever you want to call it. But also the reason why he was targeted this time, we all know about the he tried to buy NBC, and people keep on thinking that's an urban legend. No, New York Times actually did an article on him trying to buy NBC. And he was not trying to buy it by himself. He had a group of people that he was working with, business people, to acquire the NBC network. And then the next thing you know, his son get killed on 405 Expressway, I believe, out in LA, under very questionable circumstances. And that's how they do it, But I want to share the real reason, because they've been hiding this. They've been scrubbing the internet of this information. And I'm your friends. I'm gonna try to tell y'all about it. And let's see. I want to share something and support the channel. Like I said, there's a lot of going on in the news cycle. We're going to touch on the Trump situation. I got a different look at the Trump thing. I'm gonna share it on an upcoming show, but not tonight. I'm gonna do some more research, but I'm gonna share it. But this is what I want to share tonight about Bill Cosby that needs to be known. Now, what y'all looking at is an article, an op-ed piece that Dr. Camille Cosby wrote back in 2014. And it deals with them being in support of environmentalists and activists stopping Kinder Morgan, this energy giant on the East Coast, from building a natural gas pipeline through their land. The Cosbys own a lot of land. They own acres and acres upon acres of land, and they believe in land conservationists. They're land conservationists, believing in preserving the land for future generations to enjoy the natural land. So they was in the way of this energy giant known as Kinder Morgan, and they supported the activists who was actively protesting the building of a gas pipeline in Massachusetts. And I want to read her op-ed and then talk about some other things pertaining to that. But I think it's very important to look at this thing and check it out. So Shelburne Falls and West County Independent. This is Monday, March 10th, 2014. Ignorance is not bliss. We must galvanize against another encroacher. A proposed $341 million gas pipeline through the region. My family and I have been residents of this beautiful bucolic area since 1971. Throughout the years, we have purchased numerous acres, not for assets, but solely for the preservation of the magnificence of nature. Moreover, we have assigned hundreds of our acreage to the Franklin Land Trust for conservation. I know that there are many conscientious activists in these hill towns. Walter Kudnahowski is an excellent example of someone who has implemented a continual push for truthful information about the devastating human and environmental issues pertaining to industrial wind turbines. The public needs the truth to counter particular companies' repetitive, common, untruthful spiel, such as improving the quality of lives and job opportunities. Now, there is another encroacher on the horizon with the customary promises that each community, citizens, will benefit from the installation of its gas pipeline, because, as it states, there is a demand for clean burning natural gas in the northeastern United States. Of course, there isn't any mention of a plan to develop much needed clean energy, such as from the sun, but the plan, as reported in the media, is to spend $341 million on what is labeled as its Northeast expansion project. The encroacher, the Tennessee Gas Pipeline Company, a subsidiary of the Kinder Morgan Company, has a modus operandi to transport gas that has been extracted from our Earth's shale rocks with a mixture of high pressure, water, sand, and unknown chemicals. The federal government does not require the disclosure of those chemicals to release the gas from the shale rocks. This process is called fracking. I, as well as many of you, have received the Tennessee Gas Pipelines Company's Massachusetts fact sheet, which propagandizes it as a good corporate citizen and dedicated to protecting the public and the environment. Questions: is it fracking an oxymoron to protecting the environment and the public? Haven't fracking and installation of gas pipelines destroyed wetlands, flora, fauna, clean air, drinking water sources, and created an immense accumulation of toxic waste? Look at what has happened in New Jersey, Delaware, Texas, and several other states that have experienced perverse human and environmental consequences from gas pipelines. How will the pipelines affect property values and homeowners' insurance policies? Or what are the possibilities of explosions and or gas spillages from the pipelines? Do you think that a company that prioritizes lucrative returns to its shareholders does to itself instead of prioritizing respect for humans and environments, in addition to generating large amounts of profits, is going to care about our nation's populations except as consumers? I hope that the aforementioned questions will be researched to activate thoughts balanced with facts, which might enable the galvanization against an encroacher that has power only if we, the public, gives it our consent and support, of course. TGP can try to seize any of our properties by asking the federal government to exercise the U.S. Constitution's eminent domain, Fifth Amendment. But we, the people, can reciprocate by not being consumers of TGP's products. Indeed, businesses cannot exist without our dollars. Ignorance is not bliss. As my father, who was a chemist, repeatedly stated to me in my childhood, the evidence is the truth. Dr. Camille Cosby is a Shelburne resident and longtime land conservationist. So there you have it, folks. There you have it. The smoking gun. It was all about seizing the land. America was founded not because of religious freedom, but it was founded for land. The people that founded America were felons. They would have been considered felons if they lost the Revolutionary War. Y'all ain't thinking right. We got a so-called felon running for the highest office in the land. We just got through celebrating the founding of this republic by a whole bunch of felons and thieves, slavers, pirates, gangsters. American history ain't nothing but a gangster party. Right. So Cosby and his wife was in the way of a big multi-million-dollar, $300+ million project that would generate billions of dollars. He was in the way. And it was in the way for the right reasons. But see, this is the problem why we should have black media. We don't have the black media that we need. And the people that could be the black media that we need, they're not supported. It's hard to, I'm on the air because I love my people. It's not because, I'm getting a lot of love, but because I think that it's important that these stories never be forgotten because they scrub the internet. I had a hard time finding this article on the original website. They scrubbed that website. But this is important. They got the land, the money. This is no difference to what they did to Michael Jackson, to Sam Cooke, the Otis Redding. The beat goes on. Anytime black folks try to have self-determination through owning their assets and their land, it creates a problem. A lot of people don't know that a majority of the lynching victims in this country of color or black people were business people. He will be like the People's Grocery lynching on March 9th, 1892. 3 black businessmen were killed because they were successful in the grocery business. And they were the envy of a white competitor who was across the street. That was the People's Grocery lynching was about economics. It's economic terrorism. So you look at what the Cosbys were trying to do. And this is March 10th, 2014, when this article came out. And by the end of 2014, what was going on? Bill Cosby was in the process of being canceled. Bill Cosby had comedy tours, Netflix TV shows, everything lined up. But by the end of the year, he was canceled. They Me Too Bill Cosby before they had a phrase Me Too going. So this is something that y'all need to know about. And I'm going to share the link to what the article we found. I would suggest that y'all download this to your computers, because download it to your computers. It's very important. And yep, that's the website. I'm gonna post the link in the chat. Chat it up, baby. I think I got the link in the chat. Let's see, I'll highlight the link. So I want to just feed the people. I think y'all in the comment section very loud, and I haven't been a chance to look at the comment section. But that's the link where you can find like a lot of information concerning the Kinder Morgan versus Bill Cosby and Dr. Camille Cosby. They took on a battle for the people that has not been recognized, but people want to focus on sensationalism. But this is the real deal politic. This is why really they went after them the second time around, Dr. Cosby anyway, is because he was in the way of these folks getting billions of dollars. And it's possible to stop eminent domain. It's rare, but I know here in Memphis, we got this beautiful place called Overton Park, which is home to the Memphis Zoo and currently the home of the Brooks Museum of Art. You had people that protesting the building of an expressway through that park. They actually had an important U.S. Supreme Court decision that ruled on behalf of the people standing up to the powers that be. So we got a park, this beautiful park to this day, because everyday people stood up, grassroots, or people that had deep pockets that was concerned about leaving something for future generations to enjoy. So it is possible, but Bill Cosby and his wife was in the way, especially Dr. Bill Cosby. And a lot of times they'll attack you to try to drain your resources. Like they want him to spend all that time in courts paying for lawyers and paying other fees and fines. That's the way to stop you from being an advocate, because the Cosbys, they own thousands and thousands of acres of land. They own a lot of prime real estate. And like Baba Dick Gregory would say, Cosby got more oil under his land than Kuwait. Got more oil under his land than Kuwait. Let's look up the public property records, huh? So y'all don't want to research. Y'all want people to tell y'all what to think, and that's why we in this thing right now, this 2024 experiment. So, and also I'm gonna read from that blog. They got some interesting things because it talks about. They posted some of the news stories that was floating around at the time. Let me see. He said it was Bill Cosby taken out by Kinder Morgan, April 4th, 2016. And it's a book that came out some years back, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Y'all should look that up. This dude talk about how he was sent around the world to create banana republics so that multinational corporations could take advantage of the natural resources of countries. It was a Marine named General Smedley Butler. He was known as the Fighting Quaker. He was from Pennsylvania. I think of Philadelphia. And he was some people say he's the greatest Marine of all time. He was the greatest Marine of all time. He actually won 2 Medal of Honors, which is rare. I mean, to win 1 Medal of Honor, but he won 2, one for the Boxer Rebellion and one for the American-Spanish War. And he was a G. I mean, that man was tough, but he said that he claimed back in the day that he was approached by Wall Street banksters, bank executives and stuff like that, people on Wall Street. They wanted to overthrow the government. They wanted to get rid of Franklin Roosevelt, who was a president, and replace him with General Smedley Butler, who was a recognized, well-respected war hero. And instead of him going along with the coup d'etat, or whatever, the overthrow, he went to the press and to Congress to say that he was approached by these nefarious figures on Wall Street to be unpatriotic and a traitor to the country. And he died in 1940. Oh no, man, they got rid of him. It's right before the World War II. But he said a phrase, war is a racket, war is hell, right? There's still pamphlets out there of General Smedley Butler you can find online. Take a look, it's all online. And he said, I'm gonna paraphrase what he said. He said, I was a bigger gangster than Al Capone. Where Al Capone operated in Chicago, I operated on several different continents, creating banana republics for multinational corporations. I'm just paraphrasing what he's saying, but this will remind me of Confessions of the Economic Hitman. You look at all this stuff that was going on he provides a timeline, or this person provides a timeline. August 2010, big news spike. Bill Cosby defending internet rumor that he's dead. So they claim he was dead. You know, sometimes, CNN, I remember CNN said Dennis Rodman was dead at one time, and he had to call in to know he was still alive. I believe they said Sinbad was dead a couple times. He was burning Mac before he died, I think. They say he was dead. So that's what they do. August 2012, 2 years later, I'm still not dead. November 2013, Cosby has new show on Comedy Central, PR and Vanity Fair, Letterman, I think David Letterman, Rolling Stone, etc. And we read the op-ed, March 10th, 2014, Bill Cosby wife writes an op-ed, all right? Okay. So there was March, and by the end of the year, he was a target put on his back. So hold on, read. This is from 2014. This is important to read. June 23rd through the 25th. I think I want to say 2014. Master Public Relations hitman Rick Berman, aka Dr. Evil, is secretly recorded at the Western Energy Conference in Colorado Springs, bragging about being able to take out celebrities without anyone being able to trace it back to Berman on his clients. This is reported late October by the New York Times and also prwatch.org. They say they got the links below. Okay, I'm going to read this. This is from an article that was floating around the time, July 11, 2014. Bill Cosby backs pipeline protesters' State House rally plan. Boston. Comedian Bill Cosby and his wife Camille are supporting protesters marching across the state in opposition to Kinder Morgan's proposed natural gas pipeline. The couple, who owns hundreds of acres of protected land in Shelburne Falls, about 100 miles west of Boston, have been opposed to the pipeline since the company notified them last winter of plans to survey their property. The couple, through their spokesman, said it was astounding that New England's 6 governors support the proposal, which they said shows disrespect for humans, flora, and fauna. Supporters of the $3.75 billion. So, we owe $341 million, I guess, to install the pipeline. But here it says $3.75 billion Northeast Pipeline Extension Project, say it will provide more clean burning domestic natural gas to the Northeast market. Okay, so the story is picked up by AP Newswire, is repeated nationwide. Okay, it got the links. I don't know if the links work still because that's been a while back. Then the fall comes, right? October 17, 2014. I remember when this first happened. Scandal begins. Hannibal Buress calls Cosby a rapist or grapist. I mean, they're going to censor me at a performance. Video is posted at Philly.com. So who was Hannibal Buress? Nobody never heard of this cat. It ain't like it was Dave Chappelle or Eddie Murphy or Chris Rock that said this. Hannibal Buress. The next thing you know, he was appearing in movies and TV shows and stuff. But have you heard from Hannibal Buress in a while? No. Sound like an industry plant to me. Y'all talking about the music business about industry plants. I believe the comedy business about industry plants because everybody's stealing from everybody, it seems. No Cat Williams. You got to tell them no, I love Cat Williams, but anyway. Okay. It said October 30th, 2014, New York Times and prwatch.org published the Rick Berman tapes. PR master Rick Berman, a.k.a. Dr. Evil, is secretly recorded at a conference in June, bragging about how he can take down celebrities for secret clients and no one can trace it back to him. This is at an energy conference. Keyword. He was talking to, so I'm sure Kinder Morgan and the Tennessee folks might have been some of his secret clients. So this is stuff. This is why we need a black media, not in the spirit of the New York Times, but in the spirit of the African Freedom Journal, in the spirit of T. Thomas Fortune, in the spirit of William Monroe Trotter, in the spirit of Addie B. Wells Barnett, in the spirit of Frederick Douglass. We need a black juggernaut media now. And I wish that Dr. Bill Cosby had the foresight to create one instead. I mean, if you couldn't buy them, just, create your own. God bless a child that got his own. Because Dr. Cosby was into technology. I remember when I used to podcast on Blog Talk Radio, and they had a thing called Syncast, I believe CINCH cast. And Dr. Cosby actually was working with the Syncast to spin off to Blog Talk Radio to do podcasting. And I wish that he really had a black media with some teeth to bite and fight back on his behalf. And that's what I was worried about with the publicist, Andrew Wyatt, is like, man, y'all didn't have no real social media presence when all this was going on. You have people like Nicole Views, you know, a lot of people or some people that are very supportive. They had their independent grassroots platform that's been under attack by social media sites like YT, YT been attacking Blackie, White T. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm broadcasting right now. They want to shut down certain voices, but yet they want to promote BS. This is why social media is a social experiment. You know, people talk about Project 2025. They talk about they're attacking single motherhood. Well, you know, single motherhood is an invention of the federal government. Federal government invented single motherhood. They invented the hood rat. These are government inventions, excuse me. Street gangs, government invention. I can't talk. I know it's getting late. Government invention, right? So y'all gotta understand, like what Dick was talking about, they put so much manganese and malts liquor and make you want to unalive your mama, right? The stuff they put in our food, right? All this stuff they put in our food. And this brings me to this story that's made national headlines from my hometown of Memphis, Tennessee. Y'all be writing me. Memphis, Tennessee, right? It's about some chicken. Now, is there any type of chicken out there that's so good that make you want to do harm to somebody? And this is what we'll talk about, you know, and it's like it talked about with Dr. Bill Cosby. I'm wrapping up the Cosby thing. I'm gonna end it with the chicken thing, right? That Poundcake speech is known as the Poundcake speech. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. All right, take a look. I'm sure they got the Poundcake speech. He did this speech at the 50th anniversary of the Brown v. Board decision, NACP dinner award, whatever it was. And you know, Bill Cosby was talking among his people. You know, Reverend Jesse Jackson. And I'm gonna do a show about Jesse Jackson. We owe him an apology as well too. Black America owes Reverend Jesse an apology. And we'll do a show, but y'all got to support this platform because they don't want these folks. My green card is running out on social media. They don't want me around this much. And I'm just trying to maintain. I get my 10,000 steps a day, 10,000, 15,000 steps a day. Drink my water. Try to do better handling my stress. But there's so much to talk about. They want to shut people down. But the thing about it is, they do all type of stuff to our food. You know that black biologist came out ain't been that long ago. Everything go by fast. Maybe with less than 10 years ago, the black biologist out at UC Berkeley, he talked about the atrazine, how it was making frogs, rainbow oriented, you know, and they put a lot of this stuff in our food, non-food products in our food. And it's crazy, man. And then now they're making fake meat, you know, 3D printing food. Twinkies never get old. McDonald's fries never get old, right? They never mildewed or nothing like that. So it's fascinating, right? So let's get to this chicken. What are they doing to the chicken? You remember, like when that Popeye's chicken sandwich came out a couple years back, people was losing their mind. I was losing my mind on Popeye's chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like that chicken sandwich, but people actually got into fights at Popeye's. People got unalive trying to get to their chicken bag, their chicken sandwich bag. And you know, and it's funny because I haven't had a Popeye's chicken sandwich in about a couple years. But when it first came out, it was like it was like crack. You know, everybody wanted that chicken sandwich. And it changed the chicken sandwich game. One thing it did, it elevated everybody else's chicken sandwich game. You know, that's a good thing. That was a good outcome of that. And I remember, like, you know, when Little Caesars had that $5 pizza, when they was the first to come out with the $5 pizza concept, you know, you be tired, you know, you miss, like, man, let me get a $5 pizza. Give me a pepperoni, $5 piece from Little Caesars. And that changed the game for a lot of pizza places to get more competitive with their prices. But you had people getting unalive over chicken sandwiches. And something happened in Memphis, and I want to play it. And that's how we're going to end the show because, you know, Bill Cosby in the Poundcake speech talk about, you kill somebody over Poundcake. It was okay to shoot somebody in the back over Poundcake. You know, I don't believe I can't speak for him, but I mean, he's a comedian, he's a storyteller. You know, he exaggerates like anybody that tells stories, a comedian. And people just took it, you know, and felt away about Dr. Cosby. They had held that against him for almost 20 years, a lot of our people. And we got to stop holding that against Dr. Cosby. and let it be. Even he brought it up when I had a chance to talk to him, and I said, look, man, I remember when you boycotted Cincinnati because of police brutality, police terrorism against black people. Said, you remember that? I said, yeah, man, because you one of my, the Cosby Show was amazing. And the thing about it is, what people don't understand, Dr. Cosby was a threat because he wanted to tell positive stories and portray positive images of black people. I remember watching A Different World after the Cosby Show used to come on. That made me want to go to college. Hillman College and all that. That made me, a lot of black people wanted to go to college after watching A Different World. Now you got P Valley, no disrespect, but I'm saying we went from A Different World to P Valley in a generation. So is that progress? I'm not knocking. This is like, my thing is, bring up Katori Hall. I think her name Katori Hall, creator of P Valley. You look, Lena Waithe. I actually acknowledge Lena Waithe. She did some good, whatever. I have problems with that movie Queen and Slim. But she actually helped create the Dick Gregory, or produced the Dick Gregory documentary that came out on Showtime, which was decent, but they don't tell her. See, I want to make a Dick Gregory documentary that talks about another side of Dick. And, if y'all want to see it, y'all got to support Brother Ron in making that happen. But think about 50 Cent, right? In his Power universe, right? Think about the cat that made Empire, Tyler Perry, Shonda Rhimes, people like that. They were given the bag by the powers that be to put out certain narratives and vibrational frequencies. I'll say low vibrational for the most part, sensationalize, exploit black people pain for entertainment and profit for their white masters. Imagine if Bill Cosby had a studio like Tyler Perry. Imagine if Bill Cosby had a contract with a television organization like Stars, like how 50 got that contract for BMF in the Power universe. Imagine he had to deal with Netflix, which he did have before they took him out 10 years ago. They tried to take him out of circulation one way or the other. Imagine, and then you tell me, was that not a loss? How we are hurting because we don't have that positive stuff out there. I remember when they so disrespectful to black people. I remember when there was a rivalry between the Cosby Show and the Simpsons. They reduced this man's show to being a rival to the Simpsons. The Simpsons is still on. I can't tell you when the last time I watched the Simpsons, but that's a side op because they predicted a lot of people's deaths on the Simpsons and stuff. People talk about Trump and all that. But I'm not gonna get into all that. But a lot of these people that produce these shows, they got government intelligence connections. Look up Operation Mockingbird. Look up the movie Wag the Dog that talks about, that came out during the Clinton administration when it was going through the Lewinsky scandal. It's this movie called Wag the Dog. It's like, if you could find it, save it, buy it, whatever. It's a story about a president was caught in a sex scandal. And his handlers say that the best way to get him out the sex scandal was to create a fake war. Basically a false flag, create a fake war. So they hired the best Hollywood producer to do that, which was played by Dustin Hoffman brilliantly. The handler at the White House was Robert De Niro. He played his role like De Niro normally plays his role. I mean, I don't care for his politics, but he's a hell of an actor. But he's probably acting on the politics too, because he's a wealthy man. But anyway, watch that movie, because people talking what happened in today's stage. I mean, the world's a stage. I tell people the world's a meme and a gift that keeps on giving. A gift, GIF, that keeps on giving. So I'm gonna talk about that later, but I want to focus on the Cosby thing. Is that it's really sad what we could have had, what we could have had, right? I remember Henry Hampton, the legendary Henry Hampton. That name might not be familiar to you all, but he was the founder of Black Side Productions. I think it's Black Side Productions. He was the visionary behind the award-winning civil rights documentary series Eyes on the Prize. He also did this one of the best documentary of Malcolm X, Make It Plain, that came out in the early 90s. He interviewed a lot of Malcolm X intimates and enemies and family, all that stuff. It was very fascinating, and it's worth a watch. I'm sure it's on YouTube. But at one point, he owned the world's largest black-owned production company, And he was doing all these amazing educational documentaries and stuff like that. Unfortunately, he passed away back in 98. But here's the thing about Henry Hampton Jr. His father was Henry Hampton Sr. He was the chief surgeon and director of Homer G. Phillips Hospital, which was also known as City Hospital Number 2 in St. Louis, named after Homer G. Phillips, this Black Republican lawyer who fought the city for $1 million to build a adequate Black hospital in St. Louis, Missouri, back in the day, because they were trifling because it was separate but unequal. And he said, "No, build a hospital that's fit for my people." And they end up assassinating Homer G. Phillips on his way to work back in the 30s. Nobody was never, ever held responsible for his assassination. But they named the hospital after him. And that hospital trained more Black doctors and nurses during the 20th century than any other place in the world, I believe. More Black doctors and nurses were trained there. And Henry Hampton's father was the chief surgeon and director at Homer G. Phillips Hospital for for some years. And he thought his son would follow in his footsteps, but his son took a different route. His son actually became a taxi cab driver up in Boston. I believe he met a Unitarian minister and got intrigued by his civil rights work. And he followed the minister and his people down to Selma, Alabama. And he met Dr. King, and it changed his life. I'm just giving you a short synopsis of the story. But anyway, so he thought it was up to him to tell the story of the movement from our perspective, from the people's perspective. And this is what's crazy about it. This is why I got time up to Bill Cosby. Henry Hampton, it took him over a decade to do the Eyes on the Prize. He was always lacking in funds. Had to, mortgage the house, whatever you do, like refinance the house and whatever. And he had a motley crew of people that nobody wanted. Like he had people that were looked over by the industry. I'm talking about helping him with production, interviews, and things of that nature. One person I talked to was Sam Pollard, right before I graduated, who is one of Spike Lee's main editors. Like he worked on Four Little Girls, Malcolm X, When the Levees Broke, a lot of Spike Lee movies. He also did the Blues documentary series with Martin Scorsese for PBS. So I had a chance to have lunch with Sam Pollard. And I asked him what type of man was Henry Hampton. This is like, it's been like, he died in 98. This was 2002. So this is 4 years later. He said he wasn't a filmmaker. He was a visionary. And he knew how to bring people together for a vision to make it real. I'm paraphrasing now. So Henry Hampton had the gift, but what they did was God work. I'm gonna tell you why, because they would go to news stations around the country to save all this footage of the civil rights movement, like the Black people being sprayed with water hose and getting German shepherds sick on, all that stuff, getting bitten by German shepherds. You had news stations throughout the country. They had that in the garbage bin. They was gonna throw that away. His crew, his team actually saved this footage from the garbage bins. A lot of stuff we take for granted about the scenes and stuff from the movement, it was because of his efforts of saving it. And what was crazy was award-winning documentary stuff that he got the garbage can. The Eyes on the Prize documentary was not available for a while because the licensing ran out on it. They had the license. They saved this from the garbage, but they still had to pay licensing fees for whatever reason, even though they saved this stuff out the garbage. And they did a lot of great interviews with people too, like William O'Neill, the guy who was Fred Hampton bodyguard, who helped set him up with the FBI. He was interviewed by Eyes on the Prize. Huey P. Newton, a lot of people. It's a great documentary series. But Henry Hampton died in 98. At the time of his death, Black Side Production was the largest Black-owned film production company in the world. Thank God for Henry Hampton Jr. and thank God for Dr. Bill Cosby, because he tried. And I think people don't understand what we're missing out. All this stuff we're doing is just low vibrational. This is not progress. We're regressing. When I say about the Department of Miseducation, you got people graduating from high school that are functional literate. Within 20 years of the end of slavery, Black folks were some of the most literate people in America. Some of the most skilled and literate people in America was former slaves. 20 years after the end of the Civil War. This is why they have a problem with us. We take the least and make the most. We are the alchemists of humanity, man. And we don't even understand or overstand our magic. People like, yeah, a movie called Magical Negroes. Why don't you be a magical Negro for yourself? It's like I remember this magical Negro movie called The Legend of Bagger Vance, where Will Smith played this magical Negro. They could be outside midnight in Georgia back in the day, helping a white boy become a better golfer, played by Matt Damon, I believe. Now, there was a magical Negro. Jack Johnson was a magical Negro. He would go speeding through places like Georgia and, pay in advance for him speeding back through, like giving a white officer in Georgia $100 bill. And he was going to change him out. He said, no, keep the change. I'm going to speed back through here. at a time when black folks were being hanged from trees and castrated and burnt to a crisp every other day in this country. So you mean to tell me we don't have the backbone that our ancestors had? Like Ida B. Wells, people like that. We don't have that, and yet we tell them we're not our ancestors. We need to be our ancestors. We need to talk to them. But they hear it. They tell us, hey, you got to keep it moving, got to keep it pushing. So let's talk about the chicken thing. I ain't gonna never forget either. When I was a teenager, it was a dollar store right across the street from the Mall of Memphis. I remember looking at a story about a security guard killing a black man or killing a man over a dollar candy bar he stole from the dollar store. He wasted a human being over a dollar candy bar. And like, man, what the hell, man? Really? But such is life. Let's kick it off with this chicken. Is fried chicken worth your life? We all be. Yay, yay. Okay, let me see. It's buffering. Try to get it to play, but let's see. Let me refresh this. Let me see something. Yeah, but always something. But we're gonna get through this, man. We're gonna make it. Found another way to play it. Okay, we're gonna get it done. Get it done. Get it done. As we all be. News Free Dixie. Let's get it in.
And just to clear the air, I don't give a fuck about how nobody feel about me. Keep feeling it, bitch.
Welcome, Black family. This is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. I'm your host for this empowerment segment, Brother Ron, also known as R2C2H. I just want to play the clip I made. I want to give a shout out to the cussing pastor, Thaddeus Matthews, for posting this information about what happened on the night of July the 8th at Church's Chicken in Orange Mound on Park. Orange Mound is a very historic Black power community. Some of the first Black homeowners in the country lived in Orange Mound, Tennessee. And Orange Mound, proud, Melrose High, shout out to them. Those are some proud Black people, because when you step into Orange Mound, them Black folks got pride, especially the elders. They love their community. They just opened a public library at the old Melrose High School. They've been closed for years. And they renovated that thing, state of the art. They got a genealogy center, incredible stuff. But unfortunate things like this do happen from time to time. This sister named Monica Williams that go by Charlie Baltimore online. She basically unalived another sister named Anitra West. And they said it was about chicken. She was mad about her chicken order. So from my understanding, she came back. Anitra West was outside taking a break and shot her on the spot. And I believe she died on the spot, or maybe she died in the route, or died, but she died this July 8th, 2024, this past Monday. And Thaddeus posted about it. And he also, I mean, he's probably one of the best investigative journalists in the country. I mean, he do a lot of sensationalism. He's a shock jock, but he actually have a lot of good sources that feed him information that turns out a lot of times, like Dick Gregory, to be accurate. People think it's silly at the time, but it turns out to be accurate. And so he started posting about this woman's social media presence, finding her family members, because she has not been found yet. I don't think they caught her yet. This happened on Monday, and I'm talking to y'all on Saturday, and they haven't caught her, as far as I know. But that has been on the case, and that's why we need black media, independent black media, because that is a lot of times the local news here would take his stories that he broke. They'll follow his lead, but not give him credit. Because I talked to news people locally, and I asked them what they think about Thaddeus Matthews. They said, "Oh, he's great. He does a lot of things, help us with stories, but he's able to do stuff that we're not allowed to do, like as far as how we tell a story or promote it, da da da." So he's necessary, and God bless him. He's going through some health problems, but he's back on the scene, and this case gave him life, it seems. So shout out to him. But yeah, is it worth killing somebody over food? I mean, you hear stories a lot of times. There's stories about people killing folks over a slice of pizza and stuff like that. But how is that pizza worth life in prison? Is that pizza? Now, I had some Giordano's, or whatever y'all call it in Chicago, that deep pan, that deep pan dish pizza. What do you call it? Deep pan pizza. That stuff was incredible. That pizza, man, it set the bar so high for me. That was like a dime. That pizza was incredible. Giordano's, I think it's like Giordano''S. Giordano's. I don't know. Y'all can correct me from Chicago. Now, why I kill somebody for that pizza pie, for that deep dish pizza pie? That pizza was really good, y'all. That pizza was fantastic. I don't think I would kill somebody for it though. Even if it was for the last slice. I allowed one of my cousins to have the last slice, but I got my fill. Man, that pizza was amazing. But if y'all go to Chicago, go to Giordano's. I think that's like Giordano's. So I don't know. Y'all correct me. But it's crazy. And I'm thinking there's got to be something in the chicken. Because if you go to her page, she is obsessed with chicken. She got all these little short videos about people eating chicken and all this stuff on her page. And she's a little small, petite thing. She also got pictures of her holding a gun. So she believed in her right to protect herself. She believed in the Second Amendment. She looked like she about that life. She like, all I need in this life of sin is me and my girlfriend. She like the sister that Tupac talked about. Tell me why to the bloody end, me and my girlfriend. She had that type of vibe about her. She was about that life. You look at her pictures and tell she was about that life, but I don't think she want to do life for killing somebody over chicken, though. That's sad, because people said it couldn't be just chicken. I said, well, this is the thing. It is about chicken. You know why? Because she killed this woman who worked at a chicken place, and she was fussing about her chicken order. People say it had to be about a man, it's about chicken. It's like the Civil War. You cannot have the American Civil War without the issue of slavery. People spend an academic career trying to say it wasn't about slavery. It was all about slavery. Trust and believe in so many different ways. Just like this was about chicken. This woman tripped out because I talked about earlier about people killing folks over chicken sandwiches. Them sandwiches ain't all that. You know what I'm saying? What is human life? But this comes from the fact that we don't value each other. See, this is a toxic culture. This is not even culture we could talk about. With Dr. Bill Cosby, if Dr. Bill Cosby, like I said, had the same resources as the people I mentioned earlier, if he had the same type of backing, institutional backing, this probably would not have went down. I'm not saying, but I'm saying Malcolm said it best. He said media is the most powerful entity on the planet because it influences and controls the minds of the masses. It's like Donald Trump was so beloved by America just 15 years ago. People loved Donald Trump. Black, white, everybody want to be the apprentice. Yeah, Donald Trump could do no wrong. Rappers want to rap about Donald Trump, want to be like him. He from Queens. He loved the bling bling. So he fits into the hip hop culture. I remember when Donald Trump did a skit on Memphis Man's Judgment Day. He did a skit about wait for his album to come out. You know, Donald Trump was on there. Donald Trump is cool to me. I like Donald Trump. I ain't gonna lie. But it's funny how now over half of the country, whatever you want to believe, hate this man so much, like he's the worst thing that happened since the plague. I don't know what to make of it, but I just know that people are not in their right minds because you look at what they feed us on a daily basis, whether it be through the media, the news, traditional news media, or social media. It's very toxic. I'm thinking about when they asked Malcolm about the President Kennedy assassination, and he said that famous, infamous quote, "Chickens coming home to roost." Well, I believe 2024 is the year that the chickens are coming home to roost for America. We got to answer to God. This is the year that we're going to be forced to kneel like Kaepernick and answer to God about what's going on with us. Showtime, like Dick Gregory would say, is over. Get your popcorn while you can, because inflation is a mother. Go to the store, you buy 5 items, it's like $75. What the hell did I get for $75? There's 5 things, right? But it's like we were at the Hunger Game point, we at the purge point, we at the Hunger Game point. So y'all think these movies are just entertainment? No, they're documentaries. They're survival guides. Like we got zombies. That drug they got out in Philly, they call it trank. People like they under the influence of being zombies, like the Nights of the Living Baseheads or the Night of the Living Dead. They actual zombies. Just check out. Go on social media, look up this stuff, trank, whatever they got going on in Philly. But and you think about it, you don't know what you're eating, man. We don't know, because a lot of stuff we eating ain't really traditional organic food, So you got all these health elements. There's a lot of things they doing. This is a death machine. It kills your spirit, it kills your intellectual curiosity, and it kills your body. So what can we do about it? Do you want a revolution? Do you want a revolution? That's the thing. And I'm gonna try to see if I can find any updates on this situation. The fact that they haven't caught this lady, she had purple hair, and she stood out. She had gold teeth, purple hair. And Memphis not that big. It's a big city, but not that big of a city. You can run into people you went to high school with any day or every day, So Memphis ain't that big. So let me see. Because that is posted some 6 hours ago. The Facebook said, according to the MPD post, that Monica Williams was arrested on Lamar is untrue. Somebody hiding her. This is like a real set it off. Like she got a network of people that's hiding her. She ain't doing this by herself. I don't even know if she's still in the city. But this case really caught my attention because the woman she killed had a young daughter. And lives lost and ruined. Her life is ruined. Monica, Anitra, her life is ended. Daughter, family, heartbroken. She heartbroke her family, I'm sure. Because she was promoting a place called Queenies or something like that on Person. But somebody said she don't work there, but she was promoting on her social media networks about this place. But anyway, we got to understand that words create worlds. Like we can speak a lot of things into existence. Like she talked about on social media how she narrowly missed a tragedy at a store. Somebody got shot and killed at a store that she was going to go to, but something told her not to go to the store. So I've been reading her social media. I think it's interesting because, to me, it's easy to paint this person as a monster because of a moment of rage and questionable judgment that has lifetime implications. But when I started reading her post, it's like she was like anybody else. You know what I'm saying? She was just like normal, talk, fears. She addressed relationship issues, just living, being thankful to God. And she had this moment where she snapped, and it's unfortunate because lives lost and ruined. So my thing is, I don't want to demonize her. I don't. She's already been demonized enough by this system, like all of us has. So it's not my job to belittle the sister and stuff like that. But like when I show y'all that clip, that's her in her own words saying what she said. That's her. And that's that energy she was putting out there. So whatever you put out, you attract back to you. Whatever that energy that you're putting out is what you attract back to you. So you gotta be careful. Like, you can't argue with people no more. You gotta walk away. People, they wrong as hell, but you like, you know what? God bless you. Have a good day. All right. You got it. You got it, buddy. You got it. You gotta be like that because people crazy, especially after 2020, people can't hide their crazy no more. Crazy mask all falling off. People don't hide their crazy on people gone. You can look at some people and tell they gone. I remember I saw that interview of Julio Fulio, the rapper who got killed down in Florida, the Jacksonville rapper, drill rapper that got killed after his birthday party at the Holiday Inn. And he was just in his 20s. I think he was just 26. He just turned 26, I believe. And he did an interview online, and he talked about how he didn't fear death. He accepted his fate. You could tell in his eyes that he was already dead. He knew he was a dead man anyway. He knew he was not going to make it to 30. He said he already had his life insurance and things set up for his people, and he accepted his fate. But you got to think about it. You tempt fate when you do things that's not. It's not on a good foot, right? Like if you are posting videos online of you making fun of your enemies who in the grave, you go to their cemeteries, disrespect their grave at the cemetery, making videos, disrespecting their legacy. I mean, you got to answer for that. What's interesting about these rappers and stuff getting killed, like some of the rappers that get killed are some of the most talented and gifted individuals. What is interesting, like they target the right ones to get rid of. But like I tell people all the time, I said the rappers of today would have been revolutionaries yesterday. Like Nipsey Hussle could have been like our Prentice Bunchy Carter, who led the Slossers before he became the leader of the Black Panthers in L.A. He was a Slosson gang leader, had about 3,000 folks at his command, known as the mayor of the ghetto, taught himself how to read and write while he was in prison like a Malcolm X. And he was a great poet. And I think Nipsey could have had with Bunchy Carter. They got rid of Bunchy Carter at 26 at UCLA, along with John Huggins in his 20s back on January the 17th, 1969. U.S. government did that. And also I had an elder was talking about how he didn't like the fact that they named a street, honorary street for Young Dolph in Memphis. Young Dolph was killed at the Makita's Cookie Shop November 17th, 2021 in Memphis, Tennessee. And they, I think that same year, it was at December, they had an honorary street naming for Young Dolph, Adolph Thornton, right? Young Dolph. And the elder was talking about, I don't like the fact they named it after him. He was low vibrational. He was not a credit to us. He put out music that was poison, da. Now, this elder is a big time leader in the Kwanzaa community in Memphis. So I had to remind Elder, I said, I have no problem for a street being named for somebody like Young Dolph. He tried to do things in the community. He was taken away from us at 36. It seemed like he was trying to turn a corner, but he was not getting the support that he was deserving of. Because I think about if Young Dolph lived in Atlanta, you look at the support that Killer Mike and T.I. get from Atlanta. They got access to the mayor's office. Young Dolph was like a man in no man's land. He was loved, but he had a lot of enemies. And he had no connection to City Hall like that. He had no political connections. But in Atlanta, you could have a Killer Mike having a conversation, a collaboration with an Andrew Young or what's the guy brother name that is passed? Good Trouble, John Lewis, right? You can't have that conversation here in Memphis like that. Memphis is a plantation town. Atlanta is a unique town because Memphis and Atlanta like night and day. You know, I tell people Atlanta, they hate black people, but they love money more than they hate black people. In Memphis, they hate black people more than they love money. So that's how it goes. So they like to keep it a certain way. But I tell you, brother, you know, the founder of Kwanzaa went to prison for 4 years for mutilating, torturing, kidnapping black women. This man mutilated, tortured, kidnapped black women, and went to prison for 4 years. I put up the Los Angeles Times articles. He went to prison from like 1971 to 75. Now he's an academic. I'm talking about Ron Karenga. No, Ron Karenga, the founder of the so-called, and then people say he didn't even found Kwanzaa. It was some two sisters from Philadelphia that actually created Kwanzaa. That's another story, because him and Hakeem Jamal, so y'all know about Hakeem Jamal. I believe the brother named Hakeem Jamal. He was Malcolm X's cousin through marriage. He was from Boston. He was a co-founder with Ron Karenga, on Kwanzaa. They got rid of him in a home invasion back in the 70s. He's an interesting dude, Hakeem Jamal. He's an interesting dude. He got around pretty well. Had a lot of interesting relationships. Kind of like what's the boy name? Not a boy, but Jay Electronica, right? Jay Electronica. I like Jay Electronica, right? The rapper from is he from Louisiana? You know, he was messing, got one of Erica Badu baby daddies. She got them Genius Babies by DOC, Jay Electronica, and Andre 3000. So Crystal Kids are hers. Jay Electronica was connected to a Rothschild. You know, he was dating at one point. I don't know if he's still dating the white girl. I mean, he was Nation of Islam, but he liked the other white meat too. You know, it is what it is. But even look at jazz music. You talk about Charlie Parker died in the apartment of Pananika, who was a Rothschild. She was like, they call her, Pananika. And she was a Rothschild, but she supported bebop. She supported a lot of black jazz musicians. But Charlie Parker died at her home, the Stanhope Hotel, back in March of 55. I want to say March 12th, 1955. Thelonious Monk, who she was real close. I don't know if they had like a sexual relationship or nothing like that. But Thelonious was married to Nelly, who was a longtime supporter of him. But the Thelonious was known for being a hard person to get along with or live with, according to some of his folks. So I guess Nelly and Pananika shared responsibilities of dealing with Thelonious. You know, and he ended up living with her at the end of his life and died at her mansion in New Jersey back on February 17th, 1982. So she had two prominent black geniuses take their last breaths in her residence. This is a Rothschild, Pananika. Look up Pananika. Did a interesting documentary about her on YouTube and also HBO with the help of her niece, I believe. It came out several years ago. But what people got to understand, and I lost my point. Did I lose my point? Oh no, I lost my point. But I got into this rabbit hole, right? So let me bring it back. But the culture has been people talk about industry plants. I remember like some of the rappers I actually like NBA Youngboy. I like some of his stuff. I don't listen to him all the time, but he's very talented to me. Kodak Black is very talented. But I remember reading some about NBA Youngboy where he talked about how he knew that his music was being made to incite violence in young people. Like he said, he basically said he knew that he was a part of the problem. But, they pay him to be that. And like it's sad that we as black people, our black leadership class has been replaced by entertainers. Our black leadership class has been replaced by entertainers. And it's sad, by court jesters, trumpet players, comedians. Like what Dick Gregory was saying. I mean, not Dick Gregory, but Malcolm X said in that famous Berkeley interview he did back in '63. We the only group of people being led by entertainers. I mean, well, white folks had Ronald Reagan, but he really wasn't calling the shots like that. But Donald Trump, whatever. But anyway, it's neither here or there. But you think about 60 years ago, you had black leadership. You may not have liked the men or their organizations or their ideologies or methodologies, but you had black leadership. You had, even Roy Wilkins had a little bit of radicalness in him, the NACP. You had Dr. King, SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership Conference. He had James Farmer Alcor, Floyd McKissick, who started Soul City in North Carolina. That's a story we need to talk about. Soul City in North Carolina. He got like a $20 million from Richard Nixon to start that, y'all. And he was a black Republican. So he started it in North Carolina. They sabotaged it. The government sabotaged it and lied about him taking money, misappropriation of funds, which was not true. But by the time they put that crap out there, Soul City was abandoned. You know, look up Soul City on YouTube, on Google, whatever. And Whitney Young of the National Urban League, he was a real black leader. A lot of people think he was a sellout or a Tom. Uncle Tom is really a hero of the black liberation experience. He's not a sellout. To be called Uncle Tom is really a compliment if you know the real history of Uncle Tom, who was a real race man. Maybe being called a Sambo, that's a different story, but Uncle Tom is really an honor to be called Uncle Tom. So anyway, like a deer in headlights. Okay, I think I talked enough. I just get lost in tangents and stuff. Yeah, okay. Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad, Nation of Islam, right? Huey P. Newton, Bobby Seale, Fred Hampton, people like that. Black Panther Party, you know, ain't nothing but a Panther Party. So you cut off the head, you leave the dog tail wagging. Like, you know, they got rid of the Panthers that brought in the Bloods and Crips. Another great documentary, Bastards of the Party. Check that out. It talks about that. That's government stuff. Hood rats, street gangs, all government inventions. It's like the Sinaloa cartel. I remember reading this article in the Chicago publication. And they talking about how DEA allowed the Sinaloa cartel to control the 70 to 80% of the drug trade in Chicago. As long as people could snitch on the other cartels, the DEA allowed them to control 80% of the drug business in Chicago. This is like an article that came out back in 2013 or something like that. And I talked about it in a previous show. And so this is what we're dealing with. You deal with a government, like you think about like Bad Boys 4, right? And I think that was the best Bad Boys that came out. And it talks about, you know, in that movie, y'all think it's a work of fiction, but it's actual reality, how the government is involved in drug trafficking, sex trafficking, things of that nature. Like it had the scene in the movie where the accountant for the cartel, he's murdered, suicided. Like they kill his bodyguard, they kill him, and they kill his girlfriend, his mistress. You know, y'all gotta see Bad for. I mean, like they kill him, and then they shot the mistress in the head, like she committed suicide, like it's supposed to be a murder suicide. And when I saw that scene, immediately I thought about Steve McNair and his situation in Nashville. I don't think that girl killed him. I know it sounds crazy to think that. I don't really believe that the girl actually killed him. I believe she was murdered along with Steve McNair. His people waited a while to call the police, because I guess they were cleaning up the place, whatever they were doing. But Steve McNair, because of his lifestyle, made a lot of interesting enemies. You know, he was known as a woman. You know, Steve McNair was one of my favorite football players. He still is one of my favorite football players. But he was known as a notorious womanizer. So he stepped out on his wife a lot, you know. And sometimes I heard maybe he associated with people that were already taking women, but women were taken by him. And this immigrant girl from the Middle East, they said she was kind of, you know, head loose, mind loose, kind of a little bit crazy out there. But, I just think it's another angle to that. The Steve McNair case, I believe that they should have looked at her boyfriend a little bit more, her ex-boyfriend, who was a aspiring rapper. I heard a song that he did that had some troubling lyrics to it. Like, you know, if they gonna put Young Thug in prison for whatever they think he's doing through his music, they should look at the boyfriend. But they're not gonna do that because they don't really care. Because this is a black man with this foreign woman, and like whatever, case closed. But that case never sat right to me. But Bad Boys kind of show that it's possible to do a murder-suicide setup. And the way they show it remind me of Steve McNair and his mistress. So I know I'm getting off topic because it means time to go. But I hope y'all had a great time tonight. You know, let me look at the chat before I get out of here. But also, I want y'all to do me a favor. Let me see. See, I got my banner up. I need y'all to subscribe to the rumble.com We All Be TV. I need it to happen. We need to grow that because YouTube ain't the future. That's not my future. And like I said, y'all can subscribe to the We All Be TV 2 channel. That's YouTube or YT on youtube.com/We All Be TV 2. And I'll have some of my videos on there. I would like to reach 100,000 on We All Be TV before I get, because like I gotta move stuff out because it's weird, man. Because they constantly tell me, oh, this video was removed, that video was removed. They already demonetized me, so I'm not making money out the videos. And I thought it would be an archive for posterity, but they making it difficult just to help videos I did 10 years ago. They removed those. So my best bet is just rumble.com, We All Be TV. And also I plan on showing the banned videos on my Patreon. My banned videos, like the videos that got removed from YouTube for censorship. It's like I had a video. One of the first videos to be removed was a video that Dick Gregory was talking about Sandy Hook back in 2013. He was talking about Sandy Hook, and he didn't say nothing controversial. He didn't go the way of Alex Jones, but they thought it was controversial. This is back. He was talking about how the official narrative changes. Like he said, watch the breaking news. Like what were they saying at first about the Sandy Hook tragedy, right? The police scanner said it was multiple shooters, that they were looking for multiple shooters. That's the police scanner saying that. But by the end of it all, it's only one kid, some type of kid on the spectrum, like he had autism. He killed them people and killed himself and killed his mom. I think they say he killed himself and killed his mom. And according to Dick Gregory, his mom had some U.S. intelligence connections. I don't know. Same thing with the Vegas shooter. It's like, it's so weird, man, because some people thought the Vegas shooter, the mass shooter in Vegas back in 2017, some people believe he was already dead. He was just put there to take the fall. But who knows? I don't know. Like with the Trump thing, who knows, man? It's above my pay grade. But subscribe to rumble.com, We All Be TV, to get, because we're going to grow that. We're going to grow that because like they don't believe in censorship for now. They like what YouTube used to be when it first began, rumble.com, We All Be TV. So support us on that. And also the Patreon channel. Yeah, come on, post we're gonna post the band videos on Patreon for our paid members. So I'm gonna stop neglecting that as well too. Work on that. And this Patreon's right here. Go to patreon.com, become a monthly contributor, or you could donate, Cash App, and all that good stuff. Let me see. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm about to close it out, y'all. I'm about to close it out. Yeah, I'm about to close it out. But we're gonna have the Trump show coming up. I can't wait to do the Trump show, but I'm gonna have to get some rest. But thank y'all so much for holding strong with me. Y'all can Cash App y'all support $ R2C2H2. You can Google Pay, PayPal, and Zelle your support. Email is r2c2h2@gmail.com. That's r2c2h2@gmail.com. Vimo at r2c2h2. Apple Cash is my phone number, 901-299-4355. And also you could buy Artivist art, man. Get that art, man. The Artivist art. That's the website. I got some. Nobody's like, I see people like they said, get my merch. And their merch is not like my merch. My merch is unique. I ain't bragging on me, but nobody do it like Brother Herd. They be having simple stuff on their stuff. These are my art, man. This is my artwork. This is my merch. I'm sharing my art. I'm sharing my words, everything. This is me. Ain't nobody doing this. Not like me. I'm unique. I'm rather unique. So support that. You get a shirt out of the process. You get like coffee mugs. I got sweatshirts, hoodies, everything. But it takes the people. If y'all want me around, show that you care. Okay. There's about to wrap it up. I think I made great time. Y'all think I made great time? I think I made excellent time. Let's see the comment section if I get out of here. Thank you so much. Love you. Oh, Brother Andre, thank you. Now I'm gonna say this on the show. I want to do an interview with your grandmother. Your grandmother's a low rider legend. We need to get that done. So I'm gonna send you an email sometime Sunday to confirm that I'm interested in doing the show with your mom. People don't understand, like, this has been an interesting year, man. I have been getting messages through my Facebook Messenger. I turn my notifications off. Like, y'all don't understand what I went through over the last year. Like, my mind state last year around this time was in a different dark place. Now I just came through some stuff. I'm working on some things. But Andre, I want to do a show with your grandma. There's your grandma, right? The OG lowrider. That needs to be told. Hey, good brother, how you doing? You holding down, maintaining, brother Shaq? I hope all is well in Texas. You ain't hurting too much. Air conditioning. But I don't think you live in Houston. But I think you live in Texas. I'm making sure you're all right, man. Yeah, I talked to Judge. He was there that day. I was at UCLA. I recruited Apprentice Bunch at college. I recruited Geronimo Pratt. I was there. They shot in my chair and you want some barbecue sauce? Barbecue sauce. Yeah, Judge, God bless him. I'm glad he did the show with us not too long ago. Is she a mother too? Are you talking about the person that did the shooting? Yeah, oh yeah. Monica is a mom. She got a son. I know because Daddy has posted his social media page on his page. So she's a mother. And it's sad. It's sad nobody won in this. And I believe she has helped. I mean, for her to be able to elude capture like this and her face be plastered everywhere, it's interesting. So, I mean, people feel away. He said maybe she a chicken head. Oh my God. So happy to hear from you again. Oh, it was good. It was good. Sometimes it's good to be missed, you know. Yeah, there was a shooting at Zaxby's. That happened. A young man who was a manager at Zaxby's, he got shot by some carjackers. He was walking out, an employee closing up Zaxby's, and he got shot. Luckily, I believe he survived. He went to the hospital, but he was living when I first read about the story. So I'm hoping, sending prayers up to his family. Let me look at this young man. But yeah, that happened. It's like, what's going on with these chicken places? Why are people killing people or trying to kill people at chicken places? Give him a little shout out. Zaxby's manager. Whew, man, there's so much going on. God bless you all. Y'all so patient. Let's see. I'm trying to just look at. Yeah. Zaxby employee shot outside a restaurant. Okay. It was happening in Cordova. That could be like, whatever. So Zaxby employee is recovering after he was shot during an attempted carjacking immediately after finishing his shift. Investigators are still working to identify the person or people responsible. According to the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, it happened late Sunday night at the location on Houston Levee in Cordova. Oh yeah, I'm familiar with that place. That's out east. That's supposed to be safe. And this happened on Sunday night, and then Monday night, the thing happened in Church's Chicken in Orange Mound. So what's going on, right? Investigators said the employee locked up the store and headed to his car, but was shot when he got in. Thankfully, an off-duty firefighter was nearby and sprang into action. I just went into automatic life-saving mode. Thomas Hill, who rendered first aid after the shooting, said that probably would definitely saved his life. Hill said he was hanging out with friends at a lounge near the Zaxby's Sunday night when their evening went sideways. Next thing you know, all we hear is gunshots, he said. Like 5 gunshots rang out. Hill said at first he thought he was just hearing post 4th of July fireworks of someone shooting in the air. Then the other people at the lounge started screaming. I came outside and he was just sitting there like, I'm shot. Call my mom. I'm shot, he said. According to the sheriff's office, an employee at the Zaxby's closed up the store after his shift and got in his car. The employee told investigators a second later a dark Dodge Challenger pulled into the parking lot, and a man in a ski mask climbed out. The man allegedly hit the employee's window with a gun and ordered him to get out. The victim, he opened the door, and the masked man opened fire. According to investigators, one round went into the victim's hip through one of his legs and to his other leg. The victim said the shooter got back in his car and took off. Then the victim jumped the curb and drove to the lounge screaming for help. I removed him from his vehicle, made sure he was in a safe place just in case the suspects wanted to come back again, Hill said. I instantly took my belt off and tourniquet both legs. Luckily for the Zaxby's employee, Hill was there to answer his cries for help. Hill told Fox 13 he served about 10 years as a firefighter for the U.S. Air Force and the FedEx hub and is days away from heading to Florida for another firefighting job. He said he stayed with the victim until an ambulance arrived to take him to the hospital. The sheriff's office said the victim is in stable condition. It's just second nature to me, Hill said. My calling, I guess. Hill said the situation shows the importance of regular people learning basic first aid. He said it took less than 10 minutes for an ambulance to arrive, but the victim got treatment much earlier thanks to Hill's know-how and action. So God bless Brother Hill for being a good Samaritan and for knowing what to do in times like that. So that's interesting. So yeah, that happened. I didn't know that happened on Sunday night. I heard about when my Facebook friends talked about sending prayers that she was connected to the victim. So I'm glad that things worked out and that Mr. Hill was there instead of Florida at the time. Please re-explain why you wasn't feeling Queen and Slam's film. The reason why I wasn't feeling it because it was horrible. It was horrible in terms like it had promise, right? The storyline could have been better and tighter. Could have been better character development, and the ending sucked. I'm telling you, it sucked so bad that people that was in the audience that night, they started booing at the film, at the screen. They started booing. People walked out earlier before the film ended, actually. And my thing is, I wish you would have spent that money to tell the story of because Black history is better than Hollywood movies and science fiction. If you tell our story, our accurate and authentic story, it will blow people's minds because you couldn't believe, are these people that really existed that did this? For example, instead of doing Queen and Slim, they could have did Robert and Mabel. That's Robert F. Williams, or Mabel and Robert. That's Mabel Williams and Robert F. Williams from North Carolina, right? Real ride or die revolutionaries, right? Robert F. Williams, he ran the NACP. What it was? What town he from? Let me think. My mind's skipping right now. My mind's telling me no. But Robert F. Williams was from North Carolina, right? And he was over the NACP down there. And him and his people used getting in skirmishes with the Klan, the Ku Klux Klan, right? He's getting in skirmishes with the Klan. And he did a lot of things that was extraordinary. Like it was a case where the two black boys were punished for kissing a white girl, kissing one of their classmates. And he led a one-man letter writing campaign to free them guy. I was making sure Monroe, North Carolina. Yeah, it's in my head. Monroe, North Carolina. And what happened, he was very involved. They got in shootouts with the Klan. Like he said in the interview before he died, nobody lost their life messing with us. Like our people, nobody lost their life because they believe in guns, the Second Amendment. He was a Marine, a veteran. He knew karate. So yeah, the women knew how to use guns, and the women knew karate. The men knew how to handle guns and all this stuff. So that was very impressive. So what happened to them was it was a race riot going on in Monroe, and this white couple came into their neighborhood. So they called themselves protecting the white people. They let them stay at their home against their wishes, I guess. But they're trying to call themselves saving the white folks, but no good deed goes unpunished. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. So they became wanted by the law. They let the white people go eventually after the riot subsided, but they was wanted by the law. And then what happened? My cousin, Julian Mayfield, a revolutionary, great actor, playwright, writer, revolutionary. Like he was the speech writer for Kwame Nkrumah, the president of Ghana. That's my cousin. That's my blood cousin. And he met Robert F. Williams, I think, in Cuba when he was a guest of Castro and Che Guevara, and they became brothers. And so my cousin drove Robert F. Williams and his people out of North Carolina to Canada, where they were able to get to Cuba from Canada, I guess via Mexico. I don't know what the word, but basically my cousin helped him escape. And by him crossing state lines and getting out the country. He became a fugitive. Him and his wife became fugitives of the FBI. They were like number one most wanted fugitives and stuff like that. So Robert F. Williams, what he did, he was a guest of the state of Cuba. He was a guest of state, Castro, Che Guevara. He did a radio program called Radio Free Dixie that broadcast, that was able to reach the states, and he was trying to advocate that black enlisted men engage in armed struggle and insurrection against the United States government. So he was calling for insurrection against the United States government from Cuba. He had black enlisted men listening to him stateside. So he ended up he got tired of Cuba, I guess, and he ended up leaving, or he worn his welcome out, whatever. So he went to China. He became a guest of the government of China. And one of his bargaining chips, and this is what I think was interesting, he was homesick for the United States. Like, he was real close to Malcolm X, or he was like good friends. I don't know so close, but they were good friends, Malcolm, and he had a respect, and he was friends with Martin. And both them guys got killed at 39. Robert F. Williams lived to be, I want to say he lived into his 70s. And they don't really talk about Robert F. Williams because he did a thing that was unusual, whereas he left the country because he was a wanted fugitive. And he made a deal with the federal government because they wanted access to China. This during the Nixon administration. They wanted access to China. So he started giving them intel about China connections. And that's how Richard Nixon really became the first sitting president to visit China. And that's how he normalized relations between China and the United States, because this black man from Monroe, North Carolina, was on the run for his life and he was homesick. So he made a deal. And he had his day in court and he beat the case. I think William Kunstler, the great lawyer, William Kunstler, I think that was his lawyer. So he beat the case. He ended up resettling in Michigan with his wife and family. And he was like a professor at the University of Michigan, worked there for years. He was an expert on China. So they, had a professorship for him at University of Michigan. And he died of, I think, like leukemia or some type of cancer. And Rosa Parks did his eulogy, and she had a lot of respect for Robert F. Williams. That's a story that should have been told, because this other story was so fatalistic. A lot of things that make sense, like, Queen was a lawyer. Why wasn't there not a scene where they went to court to defend themselves and she defended them? Like, why make her a lawyer if she's not going to lose none of her lawyerese, her legal abilities in the movie? They could have got off legally because they wasn't right. It was like, they was fight for their lives. The officer was disrespectful and threatened their lives, I think. So the way it could have went better. Then also, like, those stereotypes of black men and all, it's kind of weird. That's why I said if Bill Cosby had the same budget as Alina Waithe, had same access to things, like even the show The Shy. I watched a couple of seasons. It's like, the one of the leads, the young boy, he has a behavioral problem. And the one thing the show don't address is the fact that he's in a house full of estrogen. He has these behavioral problems because there's no man, no hetero man with a strong sense of worth and self on that show. Like, you got baby boys, you got man child. You don't got no real man. Even the dude Emmett, whose name out there, Emmett Till? Emmett Till died at 14. He thinks like a 14-year-old. I haven't seen the last couple of seasons of The Shy, but I'm just giving my point. And the one dude, there was a strong male figure for the young lead. They got rid of that actor, and he's a good actor. He played Eazy-E in the NWA biopic, but they got rid of him. He was really the only strong black male presence on that show. Strong, positive black hetero male influence. So I mean, I don't know, man. It's just like, it's so many stories that need to be told that don't get told, but people waste their time on low vibrational stuff. But the Robert F. Williams and Mabel Williams story should have been told. That's the ultimate black power revolutionary love couple, man. So I think I did my job, y'all. But if y'all want to catch this show, I'm gonna actually, like I said, I want y'all to go. If I gotta stay on the YouTube plantation, you could check out this show on We All Be TV too, because I'm going to privatize or make this private on We All Be TV, because I want y'all to start, go to rumble.com, We All Be TV, go to We All Be TV 2 for the moment, Because a lot of stuff that I post on Rumble and in my Patreon is, the band videos, I won't be able to post on YouTube or YT. YT won't let me. YT won't let me. Thank you for being. I love y'all. Thank y'all. Take care. Let me see. Gavin Richard. What's up? Counselor. What's up? All right. I think I did enough. I think I did enough. I'm just looking through the. Thank you, Sister Yvette. 901. Stand up, baby. One whites was against slavery. Yeah, and then no. Yeah, no. Black people into slavery. You gotta understand, when Lincoln did the Emancipation Proclamation, he had no power to free the slaves in that so-called proclamation. He could not free the slaves in the southern states because the southern states, the Confederates were whooping the Union's ass. The Confederacy was whooping the Union's ass. Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick. It wasn't until black soldiers were allowed to sign up for the Union that they won. It took almost 200,000 black men fighting for their freedom to free the country from slavery. And the 13th Amendment never abolished slavery. I talk about Nathan Bedford Forrest being the father of private prison with his black convict labor leasing program on President's Island. So black folks, you free yourself. Nobody can free you but you. As anybody, but whites did help. John Brown, William Lloyd Garrison. You had some people, but you got to advocate for yourself. Nobody can free you. Joe Biden can't free you. Donald Trump can't free you. To thy own self be true. But no, black folks fighting for their freedom freed and ended what we know as chattel slavery, which actually went on because Juneteenth didn't free anything, didn't stop anything. You had black people in Texas back in 1903 asking, are we free yet? And going to the post office asking, are we free? Look at that great Washington Post article that came out, I believe, in 2021 that talk about the truth about Juneteenth not freeing all the black slaves in Texas and how the descendants of how the slave owners took their slaves down to Brazil to start their own colony, where their descendants celebrate them coming to Brazil to this day. Them white folks went down to Brazil, to a certain part of Brazil, and started dominating the cotton market in Brazil, because Brazil did not end slavery until later in the 19th century, I believe. Maybe in the 1880s. I ain't gonna look this up. Y'all look it up. But what I'm saying is, we be celebrating stuff that's not really victories. Yeah, we won some battles, but we haven't won the war yet. We still fighting the war. And if you don't know what side you're on, then you better figure it out soon, because playtime is over. So yeah. Slavery was a big part of the economy of 19th century America. It was such a big part of it that the mayor of New York City wanted to secede with the southern states because they made so much money exporting cotton. This country was built on slavery and cotton. Y'all can look all this up, man. I just because school ain't qualified to teach this type of history. This is something you got to research and do some critical thinking on. Bill Cosby funded O.J. Simpson? Maybe. It's like Booker T. Washington. People got this thing. Like Judge Joe Brown, he got this thing about Booker T. Washington. I'm about to say, as a judge, we don't know everything about that man. That man was pen pals with Marcus Garvey, arguably the greatest black mass leader that we ever seen in this country. Arguably, he was pen pals with Booker T. Washington, and one of the reasons why he came to America was to, hopefully meet Booker T. Washington, either work at the NAACP. But instead, Booker T. Washington died or was killed back in 1915. And he started his United Negro Improvement Association, I think in 1916, and the rest is history. But with Booker T. Washington, he did support causes behind the scene, and he was an advocate for black people. When we don't even have people on that level of a Booker T. Washington. We have no disrespect, Shannon Sharp, Lil Wayne, Dave Chappelle, entertainers. You know what I'm saying? We elevate them to the level of a Booker T. Washington, which shouldn't be, because Booker T. Washington actually helped create things for black people. He did not found Tuskegee. He was appointed to Tuskegee by the state of Alabama, but he was a good steward of Tuskegee. He helped grow their endowment, and his relationships with people like Carnegie Carnegie and Henry Ford had a close relationship with George Washington Carver, one of his scientists and professors at Tuskegee. Booker T. Washington did a lot of good for black people. He was the first black person to eat at the White House for dinner. This happened back on October 16th, 1905. President Teddy Roosevelt, and Trump reminds me of a Teddy Roosevelt type in a certain way, especially after what happened yesterday. We'll talk about that in a future show very soon. He invited, Booker T. Washington to dine with him at the White House October 16th, 1905, I believe. And the white folks had a hissy fit. It blew my, white folks, all these Klansmen, racists, or whatever you want to call them, got aneurysms. They even did a poem that was published in newspapers throughout the country called Niggas in the White House. You can look this stuff up. And see, it want to censor me for the truth. I never seen nothing like it in this lifetime. People tell you the truth and it's bad, it's dirty, it's negative, but it's history. And also, before he died, Booker T. Washington wrote a powerful op-ed in the New York Age. I think T. Thomas Fortune's New York Age. I think it's called New York Age. I just hate, I hate to get stuff wrong because y'all don't have no pity. Like Alex Jones and Joe Rogan can get things wrong. Y'all still support them. It's New York Age. I want to say it's New York Age. It's T. Thomas. Timothy Thomas Fortune. We don't talk about people like him like we should. Yeah, the New York Age. Booker T. Washington wrote an op-ed in the New York Age. It came out October 18th, 1915, I believe, that he criticized the United States government for occupying Haiti. He said basically they're proud people. They shouldn't be occupied by the United States government. The United States government should leave Haiti. Several weeks later, he dead. November 1915, Booker T. Washington dead. Died under mysterious circumstances. Some people think he was, the old timers say he was food poisoned by a Haitian, of all people. He was standing up for Haiti, and they said a Haitian that was serving him food poisoned him. But anyway, I don't know. So I get. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna call it a night, man. Call it a night. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Sister Barbara. Hey, nice to be seen. So I guess I've been in it now. I've been overstayed my welcome. I'll be just fine, Mr. Mark. Thank you for tuning in. To tune in to get in. All right, Compton in the house. Thank you, brother G Rock. One love. All right, Nori. Safe travels and protections and blessings on your sojourn in the city of good abode. So I guess we're gonna call it a night, y'all. This is good. Thank y'all so much for being so excellent and supportive. And I hope y'all continue. Oh, Slauson girl, what's up? Oh, A.L.L, Compton. I love y'all, man. Thank y'all. Thank you so much. I've been working on myself. Like I've been doing this summer, I've been doing 10,000 plus steps a day and drinking water and working on my attitude of gratitude. So it's been helping. And I guess I'm seeing the results. Y'all see the results. Like I did almost 11,000 steps yesterday. But it's interesting when you try to put yourself first, like, they let you know that it's important that you take care of you. A lot of times there's a lot of excuses why you don't be good to yourself. But there's no really good excuse for why you don't be good to yourself. How can you treat somebody else right if you don't treat yourself right? Now, I'll do a show about that. Like I said, it's been an interesting year. I don't think it's a loss, it's learned. Slauson girl, it's good to see you, girl. What's up? You're doing some great work, Slauson girl. I want you to stay encouraged. You are amazing. I enjoy your Instagram. I've been doing a lot of study of social media stuff for the last several months. And I respect your game. We need more grassroots, independent, black media, well-trained in their craft, and you are well-trained in your craft. I enjoyed listening to some of your podcasts. Truth be told. Y'all find out about Slauson girl, support her and what she's doing. She's good people. I appreciate it, Straight Fire. Thank you. I could talk all night. It's like I be having a. Okay, I think about Robert F. Williams. Yeah, that movie need to be made, but somebody like Bill Cosby probably more open to making it than all these other people I mentioned. Yeah, I'm glad, Brother Shaq. Yeah, you need air conditioning in Texas. Ain't no way around it. But okay, I'm gonna let y'all go. Let me read the disclaimer that YouTube don't care about because they still remove my videos and say it's your fault. It ain't my fault. Disclaimer: the views expressed by hosts and guests on the We All Be TV platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of We All Be News or the We All Be Group Incorporated. We All Be News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that is usually supplied by the corporate news entities with those viewpoints and expressions which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We are about informing the general public on alternative perspectives as it relates to news and information, and letting the general public be the ultimate judge in deciding on how to use said information. Informed citizens are responsible citizens. Thank you for your support. And thank you all once again for y'all support. This can't happen without the people demanding that it happen. So I thank y'all for staying on the case and staying on my case. So here we are. So in the words of the great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. The words of Brother Ron, keep on producing and pushing. And please support We All Be, because we all be in it to win it, man. One love. Can you dig it?